Hare Krishna. Let's begin our reading and discussion of Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. So, I'm starting with introduction. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam. So I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances to him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Sri Chaitanya, give me the shelter under his lotus feet? So this is the very first prayer we usually offer before starting any class or session, because first of all we have to pay our respects and seek the blessings of our spiritual masters, because this transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, can never be understood by our own efforts. In fact, in any stream of knowledge, it could be mathematics, medicine, or engineering, or astronomy, or whatever, we always need a teacher so to guide us. So how much more it is necessary in terms of spiritual matters, because the spiritual matters cannot be even perceived by our current material senses. Therefore, here the prayer is to open my eyes with the torch of knowledge. So they are talking about the eyes of our soul, spirit soul. It is the Atma Chakshu. So our material eyes are, anyway, we are open, we are able to see things around, but we are talking about the eyes of the soul. So it is said here that we are born in the darkest ignorance. Why? Because our spirit soul is completely covered with darkness, literally, and therefore it is not able to, there is no light there. So what is this darkness? This darkness surrounding the spirit soul, which is seated deep inside our heart, that darkness is, it's like a cloud, thick cloud of all sorts of impurities or ignorance, like kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsarya, all this. That means anger, then lust, greed, and all these kinds of different impurities we have. They're all different forms of ignorance, and they cover our soul, and therefore, so the soul also has its own eyes, ears, nose, everything. We are all, because spiritual, sentient beings. So, because of this ignorance and darkness, our eyes, our real eyes of the spirit soul, are covered. So who can open this? We cannot even see all this. This is going on inside our heart. This is all inside our heart. How can we even see? But it is the spiritual master, who is a representative of the Supreme Lord. He can use a special torch. So that torch is made of knowledge. Therefore, we have to eternally seek the blessings of such a spiritual master. Now in this parampara, coming from or this disciplic succession coming from Lord Sri Chaitanya. Srila Rupa Goswami is one of the main acharyas who has very kindly given us this knowledge, and other acharyas coming in his line all the way up to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has established this ISKCON foundation, have very mercifully given us this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we pray at their lotus feet. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all the Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya Gadadhara Srivasa and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishakha. So this is called the disciplic succession. That means all the way from Krishna, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, this knowledge comes down. It is carefully handed down from Sri Radha Krishna and to their associates and to their disciples, the disciple of their disciples, and so on. So all of these personalities are no ordinary personalities. They're all completely self-realized and free from any contamination. Therefore, they're able to pass on the knowledge as it is without any contamination. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. If it was not for the most merciful Lord Sri Krishna, who is always known as the friend of the distressed, and he is the master and owner of the whole creation, and he is also the master of gopis and lover of Srimati Radharani. If it was not for him and his unfathomable kindness, because of which he comes down again and again to this material world, all the way from the spiritual world, and he does all his beautiful leelas, and then he gives us this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Why does he have to do that? Because he sees us all suffering in this material world. That's why he comes down and he gives us this ultimate knowledge with which we can be liberated from this suffering that we undergo in this world. Therefore, we offer our respects to Lord Sri Krishna. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and you are very dear to Lord Sri Krishna, devotee of Lord Sri Krishna, and she is also his energy, his mercy potency. That means she is extremely kind to all the suffering souls of this material world. And she's also known as the Queen of Vrindavana, and she's the daughter of King Vrishabhanu because she's very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. So generally, an example is given that a child may feel more comfortable approaching his mother than his father because mother is more kind and approachable, but the father is generally more strict and disciplinarian. Therefore, we first approach our mother. In the same way, we always worship Radha, Krishna, Sita, Ram, Lakshmi, Narayana. So always first the mother, Radha, then Krishna, Sita, then Rama. That way, if we need something, especially in this world, if we need something from the mother, from the father, we may not go directly tell the father, but we'll go tell the mother, and the mother will nicely tell it to the father and convince him to get us what we want. In the same way, in our spiritual life too, we approach the Supreme Mother. She is the mother of all creation, Radharani or Lakshmi, to recommend us unto Lord Sri Krishna. That way, he may be more kind to us, and he may eventually lift us up from this material world. So this is page 2 of introduction. Now, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. So all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, they all keep coming down to this material world. They are sent by Krishna to save all of us time and again. And they are even more merciful than the Lord himself. And they are more approachable. And they come as acharyas and gurus. And they are so kind that they are just like they are compared to desire fulfilling trees. They are full of compassion. And therefore, Krishna also says in many places in the Bhagavatam, and even Lord Shiva tells Parvati, of all the kinds of worship, worshipping Vishnu or Krishna is the best. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param. So, but there is something better than that. Tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. Even better than this highest worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is the worship of his devotees or Vaishnavas. So by serving the Vaishnavas, we get the mercy of the Lord even more than worshipping him directly. Therefore, we always pray to his devotees first to kindly guide us and bless us. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa and all others in the line of devotion. So ultimately, this whole transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, in this branch of knowledge, you can say, was handed over to us by the followers of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so he was always performing his different leelas along with his associates, close associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas and all others in that line. So these are all most magnanimous, spiritually liberated personalities, and they've all come to reclaim us, all the suffering souls here. They've all been sent, or they've all come down in order to give us the Supreme Lord's mercy. So, and how is that? The highest form of mercy in this Kali Yuga is by is obtained by chanting the names, the holy names of Lord Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. It is the essence of Vedic knowledge and one of the most important Upanishads in the Vedic literature. Of course, there are many commentaries in English on the Bhagavad Gita, and one may question the necessity for another one. This present edition can be explained in the following way. Recently, an American lady asked me to recommend an English translation of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, in America, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English, but as far as I have seen, not only in America but also in India, none of them can be strictly said to be authoritative. Strictly authoritative because in almost every one of them, the commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, Gita Upanishad. So, Bhagavad Gita is also known as the Gita Upanishad. The source of all knowledge is known as Vedas. Vedas are the original texts of knowledge. What we mean by that is that any kind of knowledge that we see today in today's world, ultimately everything has originally come from these Vedas. For example, even the whatever modern branches of knowledge, it could be mathematics, it could be language, it could be medicine, you name it. Everything originally has its roots. It has all originally come from the Vedas. Because Veda, the word Veda means knowledge. Comes from the root word of Sanskrita. Vid is to know or knowledge. So Veda means knowledge. So how can we say that? So because nowadays we are totally disconnected from the Vedas, and one may wonder, all this modern science, modern medicine, and all the technology, everything has been discovered, or whatever the inventions have happened, it is all it has got nothing to do with the Vedas. It is done by the Westerners, and they have no connection with the Vedas. But we understand from our Vedic history, from all our Puranas and the Srimad Bhagavatam, this whole entire body of the knowledge of Vedas, they have been existing from time immemorial. Ever since the creation has happened, and even before this creation, there have been many more creations, and Vedas have always existed because Vedas are apaurusheya. Veda apaurusheya because it is not a product of human creation. It is directly the breath of the Supreme Lord is what it is called. So it is in one sense not different from the Supreme Lord Narayana or Krishna. So Vedas have always existed. As long as the Lord has existed, and He has always existed. So there was never a time when He did not exist, or the Veda did not exist. This also we will learn in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, wherein he says there was never a time where I or you or we all never existed. So therefore, this is very important for us to understand how the Vedic knowledge, they are original, and they are without any, they are free from all faults, because it is not a product of human invention. So it is as good as the Lord. And the cream of all these Vedas are known as, the ultimate conclusion of the Vedas are known as the Upanishads. And so Gita is such a cream of all this Vedic knowledge. So such Bhagavad Gita therefore is so important, and that is why it has evoked interest uh, in people from all walks of life, in all times and ages. Even many of the Westerners and people from different countries have also taken interest in the Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, in this modern day and age, because there has not been much of a connection with the tradition of receiving this knowledge, people just read on their own and people just come up with their own interpretation of these sacred texts, especially Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, when you go to the market, we can find so many editions of Bhagavad Gita in the market, and hardly any of them will be genuine or authentic, because Bhagavad Gita is not secret. These 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, anyone and everyone can have access to it. Someone who knows Sanskrit can also come up with their own meaning and interpretation. But how will one know? 5,000 years back, when the Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, what was his mood like? We know what he spoke in words, yes. But do we know what kind of mood he had, what intention he had while speaking all this? No, who can tell us? Nobody who was present at then is here right now with us. So that can be told only by someone who has witnessed it and then who has passed on that knowledge to their disciples, and those disciples have carefully handed down the tradition, the parampara. That is why we always say this sacred knowledge should always come down the tradition or the parampara, and we cannot learn on our own. Therefore, because of this lack of traditional knowledge, it has resulted in so many unauthorized commentaries, and people have given their own opinion, as Srila Prabhupada writes here. And therefore, when Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, when he went to America to establish this society of devotees, so some lady, she asks him, see, when there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita, English Bhagavad Gita, so many editions were available already more than 50 years back, even in America, what to speak of India. So then at that time, Srila Prabhupada did not have his own Bhagavad Gita. So previously he had tried to write, but anyway, it was not available at that time. So then, so this lady asks him, okay, you are giving all these Bhagavad Gita classes, but we need a Bhagavad Gita text, right, textbook. So she's asked, which of these texts should I use? But to Prabhupada's astonishment, hardly any of those editions were really authorized, because each of those authors were expressing their own opinion, their own intention. We may have seen in the market, even now it's available, how to become a successful businessman, or leadership skills from Bhagavad Gita, or management skills from Bhagavad Gita. Well, all this is because it is directly coming from the lotus mouth of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita can have so many, it can benefit us in so many ways, but that is not the real intention why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, people have expressed their own opinions, but they are not really they don't really touch the true spirit of Bhagavad Gita. Then what is this spirit of Bhagavad Gita? Now this now Srila Prabhupada continues to explain. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself. It is just like this. If we want to take a particular medicine, then we have to follow the instructions, the directions written on the label. We cannot take the medicine according to our own whim or the direction of a friend. It must be taken according to the directions on the label or the directions given by a physician. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken or accepted as it is by the speaker himself. The speaker, as it is directed by the speaker himself. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Shri Krishna. He is mentioned in every page of Bhagavad Gita as a supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod, and certainly here Bhagavan designates Lord Shri Krishna as a great personality, but at the same time we should know that Shri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all acharyas or spiritual masters like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. So what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? So only, for example, Srila Prabhupada has given an example here. So a medicine, has to be taken. How should we take the medicine? The directions will be given on the medicine itself by the manufacturer of the medicine. So we cannot take whatever dose we want or however we want. So we have to follow the directions given there. Then it will work. Otherwise it will not work. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Lord Shri Krishna, it should be also taken the way he has spoken it, not in however way we want. For example, in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever Lord Shri Krishna's dialogue comes up, they don't call him as Shri Krishna Uvacha. No, here Vyasadev refers to him as Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So he is making it very clear. For Arjuna, he says Arjuna Uvacha. For Dhritarashtra or Sanjaya, he says Sanjaya by their names. But for Shri Krishna, he clearly mentions Bhagavan Uvacha, just so that we understand that he is no ordinary person, or he is not even a superhuman or an extraordinary person, but he is the Supreme Lord himself, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we have to accept that. Only then we can understand Bhagavad Gita. If we were to take Shri Krishna as some historical great personality or some great politician or whatever, like many people do, and not as the Supreme Lord himself, then we cannot even touch the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, or to speak of understanding it. Because Shri Krishna himself has proclaimed that he is the Supreme Lord in several places in Bhagavad Gita. At the same time, many acharyas, Shankara, Madhva, Ramanuja, they all have unanimously proclaimed that Shri Krishna is the Supreme Lord himself. And therefore, we should have no doubts about it. And wholeheartedly, we have to accept that Supreme Lord is Shri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and he is the greatest authority. And whatever he speaks is true, 100% true. Okay, thank you very much. We'll end the session here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna.